Mr. President, I come to the floor today to support Senator Baldwin's resolution to overturn President Trump's junk plan rule. You know, since day one, President Trump has been relentless in his efforts to sabotage health care for people in our nation. He has worked to drive up the cost, give power back to big insurance companies, and despite his recent campaign promise to fight for people with pre-existing conditions, almost every single step he has taken has been in the opposite direction. President Trump's awful junk plan rule, which went into effect last week, is the latest example. His decision to expand junk insurance plans actually gives insurance companies more power to sell plans that ignore protections for people with pre-existing conditions. It gives insurance companies more power to discriminate based on age or on sex. It gives insurance companies even more power to avoid covering important medical needs like emergency care, mental health care, prescription drugs, or even maternity care. And this rule lets insurance companies spend less money on patients directly and more money on excessive administrative costs and executive bonuses. This new rule shows how empty President Trump's promises are when it comes to pre-existing conditions. And it is not just President Trump. A lot of Republicans are claiming to stand for protections for pre-existing conditions. However, when you compare how Democrats are fighting for these protections and how some Republicans are undermining them, the difference is clear as night and day. When President Trump tried to pass his Trump Care bill and undermine pre-existing condition protections, Democrats stood with families across the country and fought tirelessly to stop that awful bill. However, most of our Republican colleagues championed it. When President Trump's Justice Department chose to abandon these protections in court against the Republican-led lawsuit to strike them down, Democrats rallied around a bill to let the Senate join the lawsuit and defend protections for pre-existing conditions. Not a single Republican joined in that effort. Now President Trump is undermining these protections through these junk plan rules. And Democrats are again, here on the floor, leading the charge against him with the resolution that is before us today. And where are those Republican colleagues who have claimed to care so much about this issue but have done so little to fight for it? So far, they've offered empty promises and even gimmicks, like a bill they claim protects people with pre-existing conditions, but actually it allows insurance companies to discriminate based on age and sex. If Republicans are serious about standing for people with pre-existing conditions, they will join us to pass this bill and fight for them. I'm not holding my breath, but I am not giving up. Democrats are going to keep fighting for people across the country with pre-existing conditions. We're going to keep fighting for cancer patients and survivors and people living with diabetes and arthritis and other chronic diseases. And we're going to keep fighting for women who are pregnant, for seniors who are facing the challenges of old age, and for so many other families who might not be able to get the care they need without these important protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Finally, Mr. President, I really want to thank Senator Baldwin for her leadership on this really important effort. I know this fight is personal for her, as she's outlined, like it is to so many families across the country, and I really am grateful to her for leading the charge. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.